If I had to sum up today's entire video in a single word, it would be cheesy. And not in a fun 80s movie kind of way, but more like 3 of the largest YouTubers on the platform have conspired to sell moldy cheese products to children, and 2 of them are now laughing about it on a podcast instead of facing actual repercussions. And if that story doesn't sound crazy enough, which I promise you it does, it's turned into this whole weird thing where the people calling out the mold are now the ones getting criticized by some of the fans of these YouTubers. And it's all escalated to the point where the FDA has now gotten involved officially. But first, welcome, my name is D'Angelo, and I am your professor of hyperpasteurization, which is a very real degree that I definitely do have. Or maybe this is just me broadcasting myself talking in my room like YouTube used to be. And in today's lecture, I actually accrue psychic damage in real time the more I think about these 3 people. So I've made it a personal challenge to keep this as concise as humanly possible. Alright, so antagonist number 1, MrBeast. He's the largest YouTuber on the platform. And somehow, the lawsuit he's currently facing over unfair wages and a hostile working environment is actually the least of his problems. Everything wrong with MrBeast is like an encyclopedic undertaking at this point that not even I am willing to engage with. But if I had to sum it up in 2 words, he sucks. So I suppose he and Logan Paul were actually a match made in heaven. Logan, who is also no stranger to being sued, is also not above launching a suit himself. Like when he tried to sue the YouTuber CoffeeZilla for exposing Logan Paul's CryptoZoo scam. So 1, you've got YouTube's biggest grifter. 2, you've got a crybaby scammer. And 3, you have the absolute idiot who thought it was a good idea to tie his reputation to these 2 people at this moment in time. This is KSI, who would clearly do anything for a bag, while failing to realize that that's not really the flex he thinks it is. And so all 3 of them teamed up to release Launchly. Now, this Launchly release was about a month ago, and it was very widely covered. In fact, even I've talked about them before. I'm only giving a brief recap in case this is the first time you're hearing about it. But what I did not get into were the actual specifics of how much everybody hated the Launchly announcement. But needless to say, it didn't go over well, and all 3 of these YouTubers have been embarrassing themselves afterwards. MrBeast coming out of hiding to comment on not the allegations or anything he should be addressing, but just to defend Launchly, because our goal is to give people a better for you alternative to Lunchables. Priorities, my man, priorities. And then you've got Logan Paul catching flack for plugging Launchly while wife was in labor. He brought Launchly to the delivery room, as the Daily Dot says, and yes, he did in fact use the birth of his first child as an excuse to promote his Lunchables knockoff. And then KSI's response to this I already covered. KSI has a meltdown over literally 1 tweet. The whole story is in that video, but basically the YouTuber Dan TDM called KSI out, and KSI thought it would be appropriate to respond with like 5, 6, or 7 different responses, including this one.
But I wasn't the one complaining! I'm just replying to Dan! Am I not allowed to reply to Dan? He came at me!
A very sane, hinged way of responding to a tweet. And so that was pretty much the Launchly story. The product still launched, people did still buy it, and the world continued to spin. But little did anybody know that there was actually a 4th character in this story. Mold, as in literal fungus, was actually growing inside these Launchly packages this whole time. So before we get into that, we have to unpack the irony here. The only thing Launchly has going for it is that it is supposedly healthier than Lunchables. It's like the only point MrBeast could pull when he tried to defend himself. Now, granted, being healthier than Lunchables isn't really a high bar to clear. Actual nutrition experts can do a way better job explaining than I can, but basically bragging about how your product contains fewer calories when that does not make it healthier at all, while conveniently not mentioning that just 1 Launchly meal has more sodium than the required intake for someone's entire day. As this Healthline article points out, being better for Lunchables does not actually make it a healthy choice. And Paul and MrBeast are probably giving parents the wrong idea by labeling Launchly a healthier option. But guys, Logan Paul and friends fecklessly argue, our product has real cheese in it.
Our pizza uses real cheese. Theirs, as it says on their box, is mozzarella pasteurized prepared cheese product.
This is the same video that gives us this cursed clip.
I like my cheese drippy, bruh.
But does he like his cheese moldy?
I open up my lunchie, right? I look, and there's mold. I'm not eating this. MrBeast, what did you do?
Well, at least you know it's real cheese, this one comment says. So yeah, that was a TikToker who received a moldy Launchly, but it turns out that much like mold, there was a lot more where this came from. A bunch of creators and users started posting videos of them opening their own moldy Launchlys, and I mean, as disgusting as it is to still proceed to make the pizzas anyway, I think this does a good job of showing how much mold was in the package. You're missing the point. The mold leads to violently throwing up, which in turn leads to losing weight, curing obesity. Thank you, MrBeast. This person is joking, but you're about to see a bunch of people actually acting like this in a second, and it is horrifying.
No, chat, there's actually mold. That's 100% mold. That is 100% mold. No way, dude.
As you can see, it's not like people were unsealing this and leaving it out for it to get moldy. That was a sealed package. In fact, that same creator gave an update on Twitter. They were all kept refrigerated. They don't get to expire until December. It's literally still not December right now, even as we speak. And they were not opened. I truthfully did not believe that I'd find mold. I was actually so surprised. And while many people ran to the internet to share their experience, understandably, some of them were running to the United States Food and Drug Administration, which I think is even more understandable. So Inc. reports that they reached out to the Food and Drug Administration, and the FDA said, "We're continuing to evaluate incoming complaints and adverse reports of illnesses related to Lunchley products. As of October 24th, there have been more than 10 complaints reported to the FDA, including one complaint citing an illness potentially linked to Lunchley products. As part of the FDA's continued mission, we'll strive to provide timely and accurate information as soon as it becomes available. This includes issuing advisories if or when necessary." Now, you may have seen rumors of an FDA recall, but those are actually not true. This image was making the rounds of a store allegedly saying the FDA had recalled Lunchley, but you can very easily go to the FDA's website and see that it's not on their recall list yet. But that doesn't change the fact that people are complaining to the government that Mr. Beast and co. are making them sick. This is an insane level of oversight to have your name attached to, frankly. But by far, the most viral expose of the Lunchley mold situation came from Rosanna Pansino. She got over 100,000 likes on Twitter and 1 million views on YouTube from posting the same video. And this is what she had to say.
These are molded. Okay, so these ones are supposed to be good until December. That's mold. This is not safe. I saw a picture circulating about mold, but I didn't know if it was fake or, you know, I just had heard about it, but this is real, you guys.
And there's mold.
Why is there mold in the Lunchley?
Oh my god. Let me get it back.
It's actually disgusting.
Actually disgusting indeed. I also cannot stress enough these products are being marketed and sold to children. But anyway, I appreciate Rosanna for calling this out, but a certain subgroup of people, presumably Mr. Beast fans, did not. Dude, you're 40. You can just tell this is a child. Rosanna says, incorrect, I'm 39. Probably the greatest possible way of answering this. And A, her age is completely irrelevant to her right to call this out. And B, wow, what is your skincare routine? But you know, children making silly quips are very easy to ignore. But tell me why there was a bunch of grown men out here trying to make excuses for why it was okay that there was mold, or even worse, just implying that people were somehow lying about all of this, despite all of the examples you've just seen. Every time I've seen a video of mold being in the cheese of Lunchley, the video always starts with the packaging already open. Someone could have just put the mold in before filming. Someone could have put the mold in before filming. What? Hold on, y'all. I'm trying to unpack this. I think a more reasonable take would be like, maybe you guys let it get moldy on purpose by opening it, but does this person think we just have mold? Hey, yo, go get the mold right quick. I'm about to mess up Mr. Beast's whole day. Like, what do you mean someone could have just put the mold in before filming? This is the psychic damage I was referring to. I think years just got knocked off my lifespan. I'm never gonna make it to 39 at this rate. We got another one. Rosanna, a single incident doesn't define a brand. Moldy cheese can happen with any product if there's an issue in one batch. Blowing this up as unsafe for kids feels a bit unreasonable. If you've got a personal vendetta against Lunchley, fine. But let's keep it real and not turn one small incident into a massive problem. Criticism is fine. Just shut up. Why am I reading this? This is the level of delusion it takes to defend this. Yes, you've got delusional people like this barely getting any likes, saying people are exaggerating the problem, calling people attention seekers, etc. But I really want to point out, this wasn't just like an isolated incident. Rosanna started replying to people on another post because they were getting thousands of likes trying to dunk on her, saying, cheese is mold, idiot. And Rosanna was like, how often are you eating cheese that has mold on it? Bro, blue cheese is literally moldy. This is mozzarella. Rosanna says, I feel like I can feel those all caps spoke to my soul. It seems like she got fed up at one point. Maybe they did the expired date wrong. No. You opened it and let it sit outside for content. No. Cap. No cap. I won't lie to you. I was on the fence on whether or not I wanted to talk about this because it's literally already in the news. Like the PSA is out there. But when I saw that people were literally defending moldy cheese, just to cape for their favorite YouTuber, I was like, nah, fam, I cannot be the only one reading this. In fact, remember that one streamer who found mold in the unsealed package? They purchased 22 boxes of Lunchly because they were actually trying to disprove the mold allegations. The whole reason I did this is because I did not believe the original source, as she was clearly biased against mrbeast. So I wanted answers and bought every Lunchly I could find. I didn't expect mold, but I found it. First of all, what is wrong with being biased against mrbeast? Oh, guys, I'm feeling kind of biased against Jeff Bezos today. Like, what? But secondly, this doesn't matter. Like, I don't care that Rosanna has uploaded multiple videos criticizing mrbeast. First of all, good. And secondly, whether she did or did not upload those videos beforehand doesn't change the fact this is mold. In fact, she actually posted the unedited footage. Had a lot of mrbeast fans spread the lie that I was faking the moldy Lunchly vid and I would never post the full video with no cuts. Well, here you go. I'm sure they will still not believe this is real, but maybe the dozens of other videos online showing moldy mozzarella will convince them. Again, please be careful eating these if you have them. Also, her unedited reaction is iconic.
These are molded.
No way. No way.
Yeah, these are supposed to be good till December, and they're in the fridge.
Me too. Me too. Moment of silence for my brain cells as well. I was genuinely in shock, she says. As that other person said, nobody expects to find mold in these. I'm obviously aware of the fact that criticizing mrbeast gets you views. We all know this at this point. But there's a difference between wanting to criticize mrbeast and expecting to find mold in your food products. Nobody came into this wanting to paint this picture. So Rosanna and a few other people actually were able to identify the source of this issue.
So this is the one that was not moldy. And then this is the one that was moldy, but you can see the kind of like adhesive, like the glue is not here.
This one Twitter user did a breakdown and saw, I mean, first of all, why did they have so many examples to work with? But anyway, they saw that the same issue was present in pretty much all the examples. So, you know, you brag about how your stuff has real cheese, but then you skimp out on the adhesive that seals it. So the thing that everybody was accusing Rosanna of doing, of just leaving it out, mrbeast was doing. His product was just open air. They were left out from the moment they got shipped to the stores. Not airtight at all. And it seems so very avoidable. Lunchly is officially a complete failure. Like, even if a kid is like, oh, I want Lunchly, and the parent just Googles it by itself, mrbeast Lunchly mold controversy. That is the very first result under news. In fact, it's right there under Lunchly's website right now on Google. This is truly atrocious. And what makes it all worse is the fact that none of the 3 YouTubers are even bothering to say anything about it. Or at least they weren't. So just a couple days ago, Rosanna called them out. Every day that Logan Paul, KSI, mrbeast, and Lunchly refuse to make a statement about mold in their food is another day their fans are potentially eating mold. But actually, this has gone slightly unnoticed because they didn't bother putting it in the title. But Logan Paul and KSI did react to this, and they did so by making fun of Rosanna and just laughing about the whole thing. So in her video, she mocked Logan Paul's infamous, "I like my cheese drippy, bruh."
I like my cheese moldy, bruh.
And Logan Paul watched this.
Yeah, like I like my cheese moldy, bro.
Yo, when she saw that, she must have been jumping, bro. She must have been like, yeah!
So yes, they actually sit here and argue that Rosanna is actually happy about all of this because it's going to bring her more likes.
Going at you guys or at Beast, you could get so many likes. You could be showered in likes. Bro, some of these, she got like 2.
So annoying,
She got like 2.
Come on,
like hairs, bro.
I know, but it is funny.
2 to 5 sentient trash bags speaking into a microphone is a genre of podcast that I wish would just end already. What did we as society do to actually deserve this? But anyways, Rosanna wanted Lunchly to respond as well, and they technically did too. In this Rolling Stone interview, a Lunchly spokesperson told them all Lunchly products go through a stringent review process to ensure the quality and safety of its products. So I guess their multiple inspections and USDA approvals weren't enough, because your product was still moldy. Spokespeople for mrbeast and Logan Paul declined to comment. KSI did not respond by publication time. So to not have time to give an official statement, but to sit around and laugh at her on a podcast is insane. These people do not care. And really, I think it all just proves that at the end of the day, Dan TDM was right about everything. He's the one who called KSI out, resulting in that like weeks-long meltdown, and saying this is selling stuff for the sake of making money, and specifically saying they're selling crap to kids who don't know better than to trust the people who are selling it to them. This man absolutely saw into the future exactly what was about to happen, and if only they had listened to his simple advice of do better. But yeah, in conclusion, brother, But that's my take on the situation. Dave's take is that clearly some of the mold has made it to the brains of the fan base if they're defending this, but anyway, I'm of course excited to hear your take. I mean, this is the part of the video where a layman would ask you to subscribe, like the video, and leave a comment, but I will ask you to enroll, evaluate the video, and submit your feedback. Because I'm of course running a 100% completely, totally, all the way, okay, maybe not really, somewhat unaccredited university. Probably. Just ask anybody in the student body and they'll confirm it for you. We're totally legit. And as for me, whether you'll see me in 24 hours or 24 months is honestly anyone's guess, but until then, thanks for watching. Your homework for today is to eat something healthier than lunchly. AKA literally anything.